Hi, and today you find me in a nice little cottage in the middle of Saffron Walden, well, just on the outskirts of Saffron Walden actually, and we're going to be doing an EICR, or an electrical installation condition report on the property for the new owners, because they've just bought it and they want to make sure that the electric's up to the standard that they think they or hope they will be. So join me in a while and I'll walk you through what I'm finding and what my thoughts are on what I have found. Okay, see you soon. So this is the first port of call for me. As you can see, this is actually quite a modern board. If I lift the cover up, it's obviously been updated because the property is really old. It's got to be at least a couple of 100 years old, but the fuse board is quite new. No installation cert on it to say when it was done, albeit by the dust. It's been here a couple of years at least. At least it is RCD protected, I suppose. And as you can see from underneath, they have at least put the fire glands in. Probably, I mean, it's not the way I would do it, but it's okay. Just could have probably been done a little bit tidier, but that's neither here nor there. That doesn't affect the testing results, so we'll leave that one as it is. I'll take the cover off and then I'll get back to you and let's see what it looks like inside. So here's the inside of the board. Yes, it's a little untidy, but untidy doesn't mean that it's unsafe. Just could have been done a little bit better, a little bit more care on the install really, but nothing untoward as such as far as I can see. What I'm going to do now is try and find, well, I should say actually, yeah, what I have seen. These are the main bonds. Well, I'm assuming at the moment, because it's the first thing I've seen, these are the main bonds. That goes into, because it's a PME supply coming into the property. And these are the main bonds, which probably have been in a lot longer than what the board has been in. And I think they just didn't want to have to pull the new 10 mils in. So they've just left it as they look like 6 mil-ish to me. It's not to say they definitely don't meet requirement, but should they have really upgraded them? Possibly. But again, it all comes down to cost, doesn't it? If a customer doesn't want to have to pay all that money, and you can kind of get away with leaving those in, we'll find out when we do a test, see what the sort of readings we get. So next is to try and find all the different sockets and switches and stuff where they are in the property, and see whether there's anything that stands out to me that's being a little bit, it shouldn't be as it is. Right, I'll see you soon. Okay, so I've had my first interesting find of the day. I've just been around. These are my first couple of sockets that I've plugged into. This is still on because it should be the boiler supply, I believe. I haven't actually checked that yet. And then I plugged into that socket first and done a test, no problem. Plugged it into this socket, and obviously the tester wasn't happy. It started moaning at me, the sound it makes that noise to say it's not happy. And when I look down, there's 150 volts going through that socket. And the weird thing is, if I plug the kettle in, it actually works. So it's actually a surprise that that even works, even though the other, oh, let me turn that back off. Even though the other sockets, well, the cooker has got 240 at it, or 230, and that one's got 150. So I'm assuming, is an assumption, I'm going to get my testers on it at the back of the socket. It's going to be a dodgy socket, I think, so that'll have to go on the report. But see, the things that you find that you would never have normally known, obviously that's got to go down, that it's a separate circuit, should be, because people make assumptions, don't they? You turn a ring main off, you just assume everything in that ring main is dead, and you could come along here, an untrained person without testing it would just take that off and then end up blowing themselves up, just because someone's done something silly at the time of putting the kitchen in, which was probably easier. Well, it was definitely easier just to take a supply off that rather than taking it off the ring main. They should have done it. And that just shows how dangerous your electricity in your house can actually be without you even knowing about it until it's too late, effectively. Talk about why we should always do our testing. But anyway, let's see what else we can find. So the plot thickens. I've now done a little bit more investigation work, just turning things off to see what killed those two sockets. And I found that it was from the cooker supply. So as we look in here, you can see you've got a 6mm and then a 2.5 that then feeds these two. And that is without a doubt rather a DIYer or a kitchen fitter, or potentially a builder, but normally a kitchen fitter if the kitchen's been changed. I honestly don't think I've ever done an EICR without finding anything. There's always something, always. And some things are obviously a lot worse than others. Some people might not see this as a big issue. But potentially it's actually very dangerous. Taking a supply from something else. For what I've said in the previous video is, you would assume, a lot of people would assume you turn the ring main off, they will then be dead. And they're not, because it's fed from there. Naughty, naughty, Mr. Kitchen Fitter. Right, so next stop on the interesting finds. This is the boiler cupboard. This is the boiler supply, even nicely marked up in the corner there, to let us all know it's the boiler. So at some point this has been extended. That was obviously the original point where it was, and they've put it up higher for whatever reason they've done that, don't know. Possibly so that they could then put a washing machine in here, as you can see, has been put in. So this is clearly, to me, it's clearly somewhere where people are in this cupboard all the time, taking things in and out of this cupboard. So it clearly gets used quite a lot for all their cleaning stuff. So I think this should have been done maybe a bit better. Maybe this was the best that could be done at the time, so it's clearly been there for a fair few years. But it doesn't meet any kind of regulation today. We've got, it's a bit hard to see, but we've got single insulated cables outside of an enclosure there, right literally where things are going to get moved, right next to it. So this, in my opinion, should then be redone in a better way, so that there's a better enclosure there, even if it was chased into the wall, so that you just had a faceplate on the wall, so there's nothing that can be knocked. It'd be interesting to hear everybody's thoughts on that. Some people might think I'm being a little bit anal about it, but I think electrical safety is important, and I think that's, well, it's going to go in the report anyway. It's up to the homeowner then if they want to rectify it or not. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, whether you think it's a good find or whether you think I'm just being a bit silly. Okay, so what EICR would be complete without taking down at least one downlighter to have a little look? And this is what I found instantly. I kind of knew, because of the work that had been done on the electrics on the cooker, that these were likely to be an issue. And although by the looks of things it looks like they are at least fire rated, but it's obviously someone who's rather lazy or doesn't know that you have to put the cable inside the enclosure. It does help. It's even fitted. There's plenty of room in there. I just don't know why they didn't do it. But again, it's now got to go on the report. Just lazy work, in my opinion. Lazy. But I find it all the time. Literally, pretty much every downlighter I take down is like this, because no one ever seems to bother doing them properly. But there you go. Just something else to add to the list. Right, so now I've come into the bathroom, because I thought after the kitchen I better at least go and check out the bathroom lights. So I've pulled one out the ceiling. Look, it says IP65, and I had high hopes for a minute, and then I've checked this, and I can't see anything on there that says that it's fire rated for a start. And there is a habitable room upstairs directly above it. And then look at this connection. That's just a thing of beauty, isn't it? No sleeving on the earth. Nice bit of bare copper hanging right out of the connector. Single insulated cables outside of an enclosure. The list goes on. And, oh no, there is actually insulation in there. And that, even though they've tried their best to paint over it to hide it, let me show you. It actually says, do not put insulation over the top of this fitting. It's mind-boggling, isn't it? My next thing I've got to check there is the fan, because it's directly over the bath like that, and I'm 5'8" and I can easily touch that from the bath. So I'm just hoping beyond all hopes that it's actually an IP4X at least to be able to be in that position, because I can't see any isolator and I haven't seen any transformers to say it's low voltage. I will have another quick look to make sure, especially if it looks like it's not really supposed to be there as a 240 volt supply. But stay tuned and we will find out. Right, last little thing, guys. Thought I'd share this with you on an outside light. If I can find it on the camera. There you go, look at that. Another great little connection. It is amazing what you find. That's probably been there for years, literally years. I'm actually quite surprised I haven't had any issues with it tripping. Oh, and an update on the bathroom fan. It turns out that the fan is actually okay to be in there. I checked it out, I'd looked at the model number, I googled it, and it come up that it was IPX5, so it's all good, it can be in there. So yeah, that's me pretty much done here, I think. Okay, so that's a wrap for this video. The EICR is complete. It failed on multiple things. What worries me to a certain extent is the fact that the consumer unit was changed, and I would hazard a guess that the vast majority of the issues that I found today were already an issue when that fuse board got changed, and why they was never picked up, don't know. Having said that, by the quality of the work, I would say that the person who installed the consumer unit was probably not that bothered about test results, whether things were actually safe or not. They just installed it. That's my opinion. Doesn't mean to say I'm right or wrong. I just think that's just what was going through my head, that the consumer unit should never have been changed. I don't think, anyway. There's no way, I don't think, that kitchen hadn't been done. So he should have, or he or she should have picked up the fact that there was separate supplies, and the fact that none of the downlight connections have been made off properly. All this stuff should be in place before you even attempt it. But then that's my opinion. It'd be handy to know what you guys think. Anyway, it's a wrap from me. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.